Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Roy. I'm a home cook and amateur baker, and I'm here on this channel typically sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Now, as you can see, I'm on the wrong side of the counter to do a recipe, and that is because I am doing a kitchen tour. I asked during my last truck chat or truck talk, I think I'm going to change it to, because I was informed the alliteration would be good, right, Mima? So I thought I'd start off the tour from this side so you could see a little bit more of the kitchen. But I will show you as we move along. I'll probably be using my camera part of the time, my phone part of the time, because sometimes the angles aren't going to be great with the camera. And I did want to show you what the setup looks like that I usually do when I am recording. And since I'll be having the cameras in that setup, I can't really use the cameras to film it. So I will be using my phone for that. And I am having a slight issue with my jaw, as you may have noticed, but we will move on. The show must go on, as they say. So let's get started. Okay, I tried to record using my camera, but I had to switch to my phone because I couldn't get the angles that I wanted. So if the camera is a little shaky, it's because my arms are a little twitchy. But I hope you'll look past that as we move along on our tour. Now here is the camera setup that I typically have, well, at least the cameras and the two lights next to Paul's wine collection there. And right out that door, you can see where I typically do my tags out on the porch. From there, we have our fireplace and our dining room table. And this is where I sit. This is where Paul sits. And then if we have guests, they can choose their seat over there. And here is another set of doors that I usually go out through to get out onto the porch. And you can see our barbecue and our beautiful pond view out there. And over here, there is a picture of Paul that a friend of ours had put onto canvas. That was from when he was younger, before I met him. And then I have my cookbook collection over here. These are the cookbooks that I typically would use most often. I do have some that are still downstairs because there is no room in the bookcase. Now, if you're wondering what this is, that is Paul's little searing torch. You can sear meat with it, and so he likes to use that. And here is my step stool that I need to reach higher things now. It's a little collapsible one that I can just stow away and use as I need it, which isn't often, but every once in a while I do need the assistance. And then here is the view from our dining room table, and then my toaster oven, which does many things, my waffle iron, my bread, that's where I typically store it, and some rice cakes that we typically have with some chocolate hummus on top and a bit of fat-free whipped cream. And then this is a coffee bar that is pretty much just housing utensils, thermometers, juicer, things like that. Cereals, 6 skinny syrups. Here is my large steel rolling pin. That is an Instant Pot that my brother gave me that I still have yet to try. Now, you may sometimes catch glimpses of my extras off to the side in the videos. That's where any extras that don't fit elsewhere go. And of course, there is my Samsung refrigerator that I was complaining about the other day, that it does not make ice anymore. So what I have to do is load up the bin with ice so that we can get crushed ice from it. Up above, we have some storage, and that's usually for like my cake decorating supplies. which I don't really use all that often anymore. Okay, I've put my phone onto the tripod so that I can show you my pull-out pantry that I have here. This is where I store all of my canned goods, my cooking sprays, my vanilla, any oils I might use, things like that. And up here, I'll pull you closer in a second, this is where I have all my foils, wraps, and bags. So you can see I have my plastic wrap, my aluminum foil, baggies, things like that. Over here is our knife set, and there are some of the Morning Glory muffins that I made for the video for Friday. And this counter is usually where I have my board, my sign saying what I'm making. And that is mostly to cover up this little fella right here so that it's not distracting or showing the time. Down below I have my utensil drawer. There's our dishwasher. I have more utensils down here. I have plenty of utensils, too many according to Paul. Our dishes and our glasses and some storage containers. There's our big lovely farmhouse sink that I love, but this is the sink I was telling you had a loose faucet. The guy is coming tomorrow to fix that for us. There we have some oils that I do use on occasion. And there is our Ninja air fryer. We have a dual so that each side can do a different range, different amount, different time, or you can get them to match. Here is our pitcher of water that we use mostly for making coffee, but also now we've been making seltzer, and I'll show you the seltzer machine in a moment. There's my food processor, our Vitamix blender, which is actually too tall for the cabinet, as you can see, so I can't put the lid on it. So that stays right there. And this little device is a water distiller. What we do is put water in it and distill it so that all the minerals are out. Because we are on a well system, we do get a lot of minerals and hard water sometimes. So that helps us to get rid of that. And that's usually the water that we put in this pitcher and use for coffee. That way the minerals aren't building up in the coffee machine. Because just like with an iron, they usually suggest distilled water because those mineral deposits can build up and start to cause issues. Okay, down here I have a little pull-out. That's where I have my scoops, my flavorings, my cake decorating tips, and then inside there's little drawers, and I have my cake pans in there, knife sharpener, and some other things. Then in this tool cabinet, you pull it open, and I have a slot for my cutting boards, my rolling pin. That's our gas canister for seltzer. We don't have a soda stream, but that's where the canister comes from. Okay, I had to put you on the stand once again because I was getting a little shaky, and also it's difficult to open this while I'm holding the camera at the same time. But this is our oven. We have a double oven. Let me show you down below. We have two ovens just in case I needed to do a lot of baking or whatnot. And you'll notice that the handle is on the side here. It's not up at the top. Because of my myopathy and neuropathy, I'd have difficulty reaching over a door if it was pulled down and putting something in and my arms are shaking. So what we did was we got a side opening. So that way I open it up and I can just come right in and put whatever I need to in here so that I'm not having any difficulty leaning over an open door. Up here, I have all of my baking pans and things like that. My ramekins, that's where I store all of my baking supplies. And I actually do have some more downstairs. Over here is our coffee bar. One thing I did want to show you before I take the camera off here again, I have another pull-out. This one is more for sprinkles, baking supplies, things like that. But what I wanted to show you was this little truck here. Open that up. And there I have my mixer ready to go. I don't have to keep it on the counter. I can keep it down, hidden out of the way, and then just pull on the cords, pull on the handles, and then push it right back into place. Close it away, and it's gone. This is Paul's wine fridge over here. It has 2 temperature zones, one on the bottom, one at the top, so we can have his whites at the right temperature and reds at the right temperature. Okay, so for a more close-up view of our coffee bar, there are the trivets that I usually use for my items. Our teapot, a little pitcher. There is our electric kettle. There is Paul's espresso machine. We don't use it as often as we did. Here is, it's not a soda stream, it's Fika, but it makes seltzers, and that's what we've been doing lately. That little canister next to it is for making cold brew coffee, which I have not done in quite a while. I definitely need to get some more made. There is our coffee grinder. Paul prefers using whole beans, so that way they're ground fresh. There are our little espresso cups. And then our coffee maker. This is a Mocha Master. Paul really likes this model. It definitely keeps the coffee nice and fresh for quite some time. Up here we have wine glasses and other drink paraphernalia. And over here is where we have all of our coffee and tea paraphernalia, right over the coffee bar where it belongs. And these are soft close cabinets so that they don't slam shut, especially if I have a little spasm and don't want it slamming. Okay, so this across from the coffee bar, which is right there, is our island sink, a little small sink if we need to do any prep or what have you that's not going to go into the main sink where the dishes are. And one little trick that we have on this sink, can touch it and get the water started. But there's another secret, and it's using my friend Alexa. Ask Delta to dispense 1 quart of water.
Okay, dispensing 1 quart.
It's going to send out 1 quart and then stop. I could do a cup, I could do a cup and a half, and that's the quart. I don't use that feature all that often, but every once in a while it does come in handy. Okay, and this is obviously the island. It's very big. This was actually one whole piece of stone that they had to bring in. I think 6 guys had to bring it in and put it in place. But we loved the colorations in it. I'll give you a closer look of that. So you can see the veining in here. And you can also see the lights reflecting. We just thought this was beautiful. And this side of our island, we have a little seating area. And obviously, I'm usually on this other side. This is actually where my camera stands to get my straight-on image for my videos. But we have underneath these chairs, we have more storage. So I have my crock pots, rice cooker, some bowls. Under here we have 2. And mostly just kitchen extras, things we don't need all that often. And over here, under the counter is where we have our microwave. And that is just a regular microwave that was put in. I'd love to have one of those ones with the drawer that pulls out, but that was for another day. Down here is where I keep all my dish towels. And then over here, this is where I typically stand for the videos. And right underneath here is where my pots and pans are. Here is my induction stove top that you've seen before. We really enjoy having this induction because it's very sensitive to changes. So if I lower the heat, it lowers almost immediately, and I don't have to worry about burning myself by touching a hot surface. Here I have my measuring spoons. This is my nutmeg grater that I keep in there. Some tasting spoons when I need to taste things. And here is the envy of everyone, is my spice rack. So I have all of my spices in there alphabetized, except for these larger jars here. Those are the ones that I use most frequently, like onion powders, garlic powders, lemon pepper, thyme, Italian seasoning, basil, pepper, etc. And there is the second half of the alphabet down below. And that's usually where I grab all my spices from. I have this extra comfy cushion on the floor, and I have one by the kitchen sink for when I'm doing dishes. So that way my feet don't hurt from standing on the floor too much. Here I have another little pull-out pantry with baking powder, baking soda, honey, things like that. Here's our silverware drawer. We have a double stack just in case we have guests. We can make sure we have enough utensils. And here are my measuring cups, my mixing bowls, and things like that in here. Here's my rolling pin, some bread baskets, and things like that in there. And one thing I nearly forgot to show you, you see this little metal disc here? If I push down on it, it pops up to become a little USB charger and outlet. And then I just push that in, push it back down. And if I wanted, I could just sit my phone on top of here and see that little red light. It would help to charge my phone. That would turn green to show that it was charging. So nifty little useful thing right there. And these are the pendant lights we have over our counter. I'll turn them off so you can get a better look at them. They kind of have a little white webbing on the inside. And one of my favorite things is when you walk in, these are our steps. I love that we did these two-tone steps and that the risers match with our cabinet color so that it all ties in as you walk up the stairs. And we don't just have Alexa control our faucet, we also have her control our lights. Alexa, dining room off. So you can see those went out. If I were to tell her good night, she'd turn them all off. And then we also have a light here over our sink, and that will turn on automatically at sundown. I don't have to tell it the time, whatever our little pal here says is sundown, that's when that light's gonna come on. So we always have a light come on at night. Okay, I think I've shown you everything on our little tour, but I did want to show you the setup that I use for filming my videos. So give me a minute and I'll get that set up. Okay, so for what I see while I'm recording, okay, so standing here, I usually look over here and I see this is the main camera that faces me head on. Over here is my whiteboard, and that's where I usually keep all of my nutrition facts, as well as any tips that I want to remember to give you. Also from here, I have one light that shines there. I didn't turn it on so I don't blind you. And then I have another one there. And this little apparatus here is my overhead camera. And that's what lets me take the shots of the food overhead. And I usually try to angle this plant so that it blocks the leg of the camera that's sticking out. It doesn't always work. I do sometimes see it in there, but that is the attempt. And then so I can see what this camera is seeing, because I can't get up there to see it, I have this little monitor down here. And this is where I will move all of the ingredients to make sure they fit into the camera view. So I can sometimes spend 5-10 minutes trying to adjust everything, making sure everything is visible. I used to have that camera over here on the table, and then I would pull the table close to this counter. But the counter is actually higher, so I get a better vantage point from there. But that is a little behind the scenes view of what I'm seeing while I'm doing my videos for you. And for those of you who have been around for a while and you remember my old thumbnails, which would always be an image of me with the food, this is where I always sat, and I would take a video doing different poses so then I could pull out a thumbnail picture, and then I would pull out a few, go over them with Paul, and he would decide which one was best to use. But that ends my kitchen tour. I hope that you all enjoyed it and getting to see behind the scenes, seeing kind of where I am more than just behind the counter. And if you did enjoy this, I'd appreciate you doing the usual, like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video like this one, which is coming up on the day I don't normally share a video. And if you're looking for any of my recipes, check out the description box down below, because I will have a link to my blog as well as other things such as my social media if you want to follow me over there. There's my Instagram and 3 Facebook groups that I'm part of. So go check out the description box for all sorts of information. Well, I am going to end this here while my jaw is still functioning somewhat properly. So until next time, bye.